The first piece that we talked about originally was on reflection. And we led with, which is most important, you're not really going to know where you're going to go unless you know where you came from.
Absolutely.
Welcome to One More Thing, a podcast like no other. I'm Kyle Thompson, coach, speaker, and turnaround artist, driven by enthusiasm and fueled by passion in everything I do.
And I'm Tori Barker, creative engineer and marketing guru. You're about to experience a podcast that will challenge you to think, reflect, laugh, and grow.
Come along with us as we share stories that will inspire you to be the best version of you.
It's all about embracing change and the power of transformation.
Know we believe in you. We've got your back. You've got this.
All that we ask of you is to show up with an open mind and an enthusiastic heart.
So sit down, buckle up, and hold on. Greetings from my living room.
Humble abode.
My humble abode in Fair Oaks. I love this place. So when Tori and I were talking about where we were going to record, this seemed like the best place, and we've already started the morning planning, so we're off and running.
Yes.
Yes. So Tori, you want to tell everybody what we're doing and what we're planning for December?
Yeah, so we were sitting down talking about what topics we wanted to talk about here in December. And as we started talking more and more, we thought, you know what, we really need to recap on our live event. And it works perfectly with the timing of when this podcast will come out, because we've got 3 weeks left in December.
Crazy.
And for our live event, we had 3 topics that we covered. So we're going to break this down into a 3-part session podcast, talking about each of those topics and just kind of giving you guys a high-level view. If you weren't able to attend, we want you to still be able to glean some information and some insight and some inspiration for the new year to come. So
Amen.
We have decided we're going to do our 3-part series through the end of December on our live event, which was bringing 2020 into, what was it?
Focus.
Focus, thank you. Bringing
Focus is a good
2020
word.
into focus. So, I don't know, with that, you want to go ahead and get started?
Yeah, I also wanted to say that we are working hard at future events as well, because we think that this is not only, as Tori said, timely now, but can be incorporated during the course of the year. So be looking for those, because we want to do 1 a quarter. That's our goal.
Yep.
And we'll probably bring little pieces of what we talked about then, because we want you to keep remembering, as I said, all of these goodies that we're talking about. So the first piece that we talked about originally was on reflection. And we led with, which is most important, you're not really going to know where you're going to go unless you know where you came from.
Absolutely.
So built into that naturally is remembering things within your childhood, but as we talked about and we're diving into it a little bit more, or stories that you heard or dialogues that you now have brought forward, and they could be good, bad, or indifferent. And for most people, with regard to some of the challenges that they have before them, it typically is a dialogue that's one that either revolved around being not good enough, not smart enough, not deserving enough, not whatever the case may be. And our whole impetus was behind trying to get you to change that dialogue and recognize that that was not your destiny and that was not the dialogue that you would bring forward.
Yeah, you first have to know what your story is and what your past is, where you're coming from, in order to break through those roadblocks and move forward with a better, newer, more improved self.
Yeah. The beauty of it is that naturally it always comes down to typically one story within your life, and you can probably recite chapter and verse, smells, sounds, how you felt. And ironically, in both of our dealings with people, whenever there is a great degree of reflection, it typically is identified and that person recognizes where that roadblock came in, where it changed the course of their life, where they started to recognize or realize things about themselves that candidly it had no business being here today. They're brought back to that child.
Yeah.
So
or what event happened to reflect into their future, holding them back. That
Yes.
one specific event that they run through their mind over and over again.
And I typically tell people in my coaching practice, and Tori talks about it as well in her marketing and her sit downs with clients who sometimes don't have that vision of themselves as Tori sees them.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, eye opening, candidly. And I always believe that you're the last to know your reputation, good, bad, or indifferent. And so as a result of that, we really wanted you to focus on that particular moment in time in your life and face it, because the fear of it or what it's done to you moving forward is how we will play out for then what that looks like in your present and then moving forward in your future, and erase that. And real quick note, anybody who's a coach, anybody who's a teacher, anybody who's a boss, anybody who works with somebody, anyone who's a friend, stop and think about what you say to people, because it can change the course of their life. Again, good, bad, or indifferent.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have anything kind to say, keep your mouth closed, because you can change the course of someone's life. And it can be as simple as, you got this, or you did remarkably well, or I am so proud of you, and you have no idea what that does to somebody.
Yeah.
So coaches, teachers, parents, friends, husbands, wives, whatever the case may be, sisters, brothers, just be kind.
Absolutely.
Everybody's fighting a battle.
Yeah. And there's a quote that I'll have to read it. Kyle put for that event that I really like. The quote is, "Not all storms come to disrupt your life. Some come to clear our path." And I don't know where you got that from, but that is huge. I love that because it's so true. A storm, is not just a big storm and crashing and raining and, wind blowing, but sometimes you need that clarity after the storm, like the rainbow after the rain showers, that clears your path and helps give you the clarity for what is to come or what.
I agree.
moving
I
forward.
have yet to meet a person who has gone through their own proverbial storm that has not come out on the other side stronger, better, faster, smarter, whatever the case may be. That storm was hell, but they got through it, and they're on the other, and they are a shining example to everyone else that you can do it. And it typically takes that proverbial phoenix rising from the ashes to make you feel like, you know what, there is not anything that I can't do. And you don't have any idea who you're impacting or the effect that you're having on those that are watching you go through that storm.
Very true.
Okay, so basically moving forward as it relates to knowing your story as a child, or knowing your story or that event in your life that was significant enough that it might have changed the course of your life is the first thing. And from that was basically where we went. So Tori, do you want to delve a little bit into the next part?
So the next part we talked about was your perception and being aware of your self-perception, personally and publicly, and how that affects others within your life and your business, whatever it may be.
My brother Lance always says, you're the last to know your reputation. And I'm sure a lot of people who are egomaniacal would think, oh yes, I have this great reputation. Well, that's good, bad, or indifferent. And you are the last to know your reputation and the impact and effect that you have on people. So it is significant for you to ask people, what do you think of me? How am I being portrayed? Do you think I'm genuine and authentic to who I am?
Absolutely. Because if your perception of yourself is one way, but people see you in another way, then there's a conflict and there's a disconnect with who you truly are or who you are allowing yourself to be around others.
Amen. And I always say, and Tori deals with this probably more so than I do, because whatever people do when I'm coaching is they typically bring who they are. I'll figure out who you are through the course of it, but they will bring who they are. But for Tori, as it relates to, okay, is who you are projecting in your business truly who you are in your personal life? Because if you don't have that and you don't show up in that manner, way, shape, or form, I got news for you. Your business is done.
Yeah.
People want to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. Mm-hmm. And if you are not projecting that, or you are someone else, then you are projecting to be. Your business, as I said, might as well close the doors. Yeah. So be authentic, because that, candidly, is what will differentiate you from everyone else.
Yeah, and the other thing is you shouldn't segment your life. It should be a blend. So you shouldn't have yourself as one way at home in your personal life and then one way in your business. It should blend. You shouldn't have a separation, because who you are at home and who you are at work is the best part of who you are.
True.
That's who you are.
True.
So don't separate the two. You have to blend it and make sure people know you so that they can like you and trust you and want to do business with you.
Well, and I think that's the key. The component is it should be seamless. And if there isn't, and it isn't, then you've got a conflict. You've got bigger problems. And so as a result, you need to delve deeper and find out what it is that is not allowing you to be who you are. And if that makes you do a little bit more work and go back and recognize what that is, I guarantee your business will blow up tenfold once you determine what that is preventing you from being that seamless person. Because you never know who you're going to run into. You know, when you're in business, you're basically open for business 24/7. So when you're at
When
events,
you're at the grocery store.
right?
Yeah.
I remember my daughter always saying, "Mommy, do you know those people?" And I go, "No, I have no idea who those people are, but I like to make friends."
Yes.
So who I was in business is who people would expect it in my personal life.
And another quote that goes along with that is, if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you.
Amen.
So if you're not challenged by how you need to change your perception or what you need to do different in your business, then it's not going to change you, and it's not going to make you better in the long run.
And candidly, listen, we all go through stuff, no matter what. Treat people as though they're hurting, and 98% of the time you're right. But don't think that just because you're having a challenging time in your life that somehow or another that should change your persona. Who you are as a person and the manner and way in which you will deal with those challenges is what will get you through. Mm-hmm. It will truly be what gets you through. And if you are trying to identify or show yourself as someone else and getting through a challenge, you'll never get through the challenge, because that's not authentic to who you are.
Yeah.
Good?
Absolutely.
Okay, what do we got next?
So the next thing we talked about was beliefs. So beliefs in yourself, what your beliefs are in others, and how you project yourself in your personal and business. So we kind of talked about that already, just being authentic and not segmenting your personal from your business.
I agree. So the one thing I wanted to add here, which I thought was a lot of fun, in Western culture, our tendency is to ask people, what do you do? Right? What do you do?
Yeah.
And then people identify what they do in their business, right? So I'm thinking to myself, I heard this from a woman who was from Europe, and she said, I just find that so interesting as I observe people, that you always lead with, what do you do? And so then people, like I said, identify that and somehow or another wrap their ego and wrap their life and wrap who they are around that.
Yeah.
Instead of what they typically do, which is, what do you do for fun? What do you like to do? And I think you get to know someone far better by finding out what it is that makes them tick and what gets them excited about things and what they're passionate about. And isn't it true that more oftentimes than not, you find out something like that about someone and you go, I had no idea that you like to collect oysters, and I have no idea. But you can find out the craziest things that people do, and you are fascinated. First, it's a learning opportunity for you.
Yeah.
And second, it truly shows you who they are at their core. Mm-hmm. Yeah?
Yeah.
Our beliefs about others, typically when we have conversations like that, are far different, vastly different than what we would have expected. And I typically do that with people when I think of those that say, oh, that person's really shy, or that person, just doesn't engage, or, oh, they're kind of stuck up, or they're No, they're not. You need to find out their story and what drives them, and allow those beliefs to be the driving force behind how you look at people moving forward, and them in particular.
Yeah. And we shared a story at our event about our mastermind group that we're a part of, and how our first meeting, there was one of our members of our group who was kind of shy and a little reserved, and we were all kind of going around the table talking about,
It wasn't me.
Spoiler alert, it wasn't Kyle.
No.
So we all kind of went around the table talking about, what our passions are, what we like to do, and things that we wanted to bring to the table. And this one person was very shy and reserved throughout listening to everyone, and we all kind of contributed as everybody talked. And we got to this person, and we asked him, what lights your fire? What makes you passionate? And he lit up talking about the things that he loves and that he's passionate about. And it just was including him and giving him the comfort to share and talk about the things he's passionate about.
Good point.
Just totally made that light shine.
People know that they can talk about themselves. That's a comfort level. And here's the thing. Do this exercise at this time of year when you're invited to all those dinner parties that you don't want to go to and all those social events that you wish you could stay home and binge watch something. That's fine. But if you just engage somebody with, so what do you like to do for fun? Or, what have you picked up? Or
What's something you've done recently?
Exactly. That you're really proud of. I would love to hear that. Well, then you've given them a safe place to go because they know that they can talk about themselves. And guess what? You might find something that now you are thinking, wow, I would love to know more about that.
Yeah.
Try it.
Yeah.
This social season, right? Why not?
Social season.
This social season.
And then, okay, so Kyle always had a quote for the event. So each topic we had a quote. So this one was a great one. Self-reflection is the school of wisdom.
Amen.
I love that.
Amen. And you should be doing that ongoing. Every morning you should be self-reflecting. I love that every day is like a brand new version of yourself. I could reinvent myself and be the Joker tomorrow. Well, I'm kind of the Joker today, but I just think it's a great way for you to be able to do that, right? So go do it. Go do it.
New day, a new beginning.
And a new you.
Yes. And then finally, one of the last things we talked about on the topic of reflection was conversation. So the internal dialogue that you're having with yourself and the conversations that you're having with others, and do those align.
Amen. This is not junior high or high school, people. We are not put in cliques. You don't have to worry about walking to class and whether you are accepted by people or not. To hell with those people. You are you. That internal dialogue should be those things that you're really proud of. And you have a lot in this time and life to say, I am extraordinarily proud of. So put your shoulders back, throw that chest out. Well, maybe that's not appropriate, but
sure it is, sister.
Just be really proud of who you are, because you didn't get through this and get here to where you are without some challenges. So that internal dialogue should be, you know what, I like what I see in the mirror. And if you don't, and you don't like what you're saying, then you can change it immediately. Yeah.
And this also goes along with affirmations and daily habits. So get in the habit of saying these things to yourself internally, or say it out loud, whatever you're most comfortable with. Positive things about yourself, or goals that you have, things that you want to achieve. Those are conversations that you're going to hear from yourself, which helps to benefit you in the long run too, but you're going to start to project those things, and people are going to pick up on that.
Listen, I get really passionate about this stuff. I know how that sounds, but that I am a very passionate person in everything that I do. But this one's important to me because each of us has a responsibility when we walk on this earth and when we engage people to let them know that they have mattered, that they have value, and that they are heard. And you have no idea the impact and effect that has on people. I love seeing people light up when they think that somehow or another somebody cared enough to ask them, somebody engaged them. Be present, be there, be focused on the moment. Mm-hmm. I told Tori, and I've got to tell this story, very prolific rugby team, and I read this in the book Essentialism, so I'm going to say it as fast as I possibly can. But this particular as fast as I possibly can. Rugby team, they were 470-14 or some ridiculous amount. The coach was asked, so what do you attribute your success? And his was, well, we win all the time. So that sounds kind of cocky, but I don't think he has a problem saying it with a record of 470-14. But what he said was the acronym WIN. He said, we win all the time. And what that means, and the acronym was, and I want each one of you to think about this, what's important now? Every single player on the field did not worry about the tournament upcoming, the record that they had, what they were going to have to do after the game, how they were going to practice, how they weren't efficient, how they didn't do their job. It was in that moment, and everybody knew what they had to do to execute. So, remember what's important now. Be in the moment. Don't think about anything else because those moments are fleeting and you'll never get them back.
Absolutely. I love that. I think that's huge. Live in the now.
Amen. Be
what's
focused.
Important now.
Be focused. But remember that story. So when people say, so what do you attribute your success? I win all the time. There you go. Yeah. That's how we want you to be. That's what we're looking forward to.
Any final comments on reflection?
I don't think so, but I do think it's important to do the exercise. So please make certain that you go to the trouble of doing this. And this is a great opportunity at this point in time in the year and at the season. You've got family gathered around you, and if you need some help, then do that as well. Say, I kind of want to walk through some of these, don't turn it into a big family thing, where it's like, oh God, no, you didn't do that. Yes, you did. Oh, you're horrible. Okay, now everybody leaves the table and now you've just decimated Christmas. No, just sit around and talk about the event or how you were feeling or, something that was said to you and your interpretation. The other thing and the flip side is don't let your family or somebody else tell you how you felt.
Yeah.
Especially if it evolved around family, just that was something that was instrumental. And if they can help guide you through or say, gosh, maybe think about school, think about friends, think about sports, think about whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But do the work. It's worth it. And it's essential for you to make your way up, your trajectory, where you want to be and pursuing what you want to pursue.
Yeah, and Kyle keeps saying, this is the end of a year.
Decade.
It's the end of a decade. So we're coming into 2020 and we can reinvent ourselves in a new year, in a new decade, and just set that trajectory to whatever height and level you want, because this is your time.
So look at this, because I'm not going to be this in 2020. I have no idea what I'm going to be. I don't want to scare anyone. Don't let children watch when I... She's very scary, Mommy.
So, we just wanted to talk about reflection. So next week we are going to go into the second part of this, which is clarity. And then the third week will be vision. So reflection, today we talked about that. Next week we're going to talk about clarity, and then finally we're going to wrap it up with vision. And this will kind of give you guys an insight view of what we talked about at our event, because we wanted to share it with everyone, even if you weren't able to attend. But those of you who did attend, we are so grateful for you. And like we said, we're going to continue to do at least a quarterly event, something to inspire you, something to engage with you and help you become a better you, personally, professionally, moving forward.
Amen. And we are all about change and transformation, but more importantly, I want you to be revolutionary.
Yes.
Revolutionize who you are, because this is the opportunity for you to leave the imprint and your legacy. And that's what we're all about. So remember, offline and online, all your marketing needs.
Tori Barker, Creative Marketing.
There we go. And me, I will be happy to be your shot of B12 and coaching throughout your life and the next century, because I intend to be around for the next century. Yes. That having been said, All-Star Coaching, Kyle Thompson, if you have any of need for my services, please feel free to reach out. And we, as always, appreciate and are blessed by each and every one of you who take the time to listen to us and support us and watch our craziness, because we sure love it.
We do.
And we love all of you.
I love it. Thank you guys so much. We will talk to you next week.
Bye, guys.
All right, bye.